It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Hey, man, I'm feeling like myself again. It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Hey, man, I'm feeling like myself again. Angels fascinated, reporting back to the maker. I'm emancipated, blow a kiss out the.
Good evening and welcome to the No BS show. I am your host B, and filling in for Sonia, who's doing a whole bunch right now, going to school and working and all that stuff. We have with us JTrain and Bo. Thank you guys for showing up, being on here. So this show is basically about no BS, right? So we're going to get into legal stuff of the sports world because there's been a lot of legal stuff going on in the sports world. First thing, the NCAA.
Wait, hold on. I know this is your show. I wanted to send a shout out to you and Sonia with that intro. It had me just vibing and going back to the 90s. I wanted to go to New York, put my Timbs on, and put my New York cap on, flip it backwards. And man, I was just ready to do the fingers and hands like this. And it's just like totally vibing, man. I was like, oh man, I forgot I was on the show. But yeah, just a shout out to you guys, for you in the production, and Sonya for your show. Thank you guys for having me on. And I'm pretty sure Bo feels the same.
For sure. And it's funny you said the Timbs, because I was like, you could either go the Timbs or the Clear Soul Docks.
Doc Martens, where is that, baby? Early 90s.
Or even the 90s, maybe the Air Force Ones. You never know.
Okay. Yep.
Hello there, Robbie. That's the Mad Yinser there. What's going on, buddy? Hey. Anyway, to finish my thought, the NCAA to release ruling on Michigan's sign stealing investigation tomorrow. Sharon Moore may face suspensions by Michigan if anything is further. I don't know how many times they can impose sanctions on Michigan, or because they've done it already once. They suspended Jim Harbaugh for 3 games during the last season.
So
Shamor,
one caveat to that. Some of that was Michigan being proactive. So
self-imposed, right.
Yeah.
Yep,
so they did some of those things without the requirement of the NCAA. So some of these aren't necessarily like stacked punishments. It's they did some things that weren't sanctioned by the NCAA, but also weren't required, right? So it may look like they're getting hit twice, but some of that was self-imposed.
Yeah, then the Big Ten suspended Harbaugh. That wasn't self-imposed. That was the Big Ten doing that.
Yeah, the second time,
yeah. And then, of course,
that actually wasn't for the sign stealing, though. That suspension was for
recruitment.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the NCAA previously put Michigan on 3 years of probation, fined the school, implemented recruiting limits after reaching a negotiation resolution. In a recruiting case, banned Harbaugh from coaching college football for 4 years. And that's the reason why he ditched. But let's see. We've
seen this movie before, right?
Yeah.
His name was Pete Carroll.
Yeah, USC, for sure.
Right? And then he just, came to Seattle, won a Super Bowl. They had some sanctions. Nobody cared. The ring still counts. All of these are, when it comes to college sports, or really professional sports, if you're cheating and you win, it doesn't matter. Because everything after the fact doesn't take the trophy away.
The person that really got the brunt of that, and I'll let B finish what he was talking about, was Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush just got his Heisman back not too long ago, and he had to pay for what pretty much was the common knowledge of everybody in that organization. Pete just all you saw was the bottom of Pete Carroll's feet. He said, "I'm out of Dodge."
Exactly, because they can only really do anything to the players. They can't hurt anybody else because coaches can go somewhere else, and the school gets the trophy either way.
Mm-hmm. And let's not be frugal on this whole situation. There's a whole ton of teams that have done stole signs, signals, and stuff like that over the course of college football career. You know, this is just, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Ohio State leading this charge. Anyway, the NCAA does not have rules against stealing signs, but does prohibit schools from sending scouts to games of future opponents using electronic equipment to record other team signals, which that goofball Stallions did. He went to, it was at least 7 games. He admitted to 7 games in the past 2 seasons. That's including the championship season too. So, I mean, I just don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be another slap on the wrist. I think Shamar might get another 2-game suspension from Michigan because he did delete texts that were possibly incriminating, whatever the case may be. But in my case, hey, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I mean, you know, and the thing is, if you're stealing signs, right, you're not using technology in the moment, right? Like you're going somewhere and you're stealing signs. Okay. You know what you still have to do? Execute, which is exceedingly difficult when you're talking about football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's different for baseball. And even then, right? Like if you're stealing signs in baseball, it's the guy on second. Cool. Teach your pitcher to hide his ball handling, you know, like that's been baseball forever. Now, if you have somebody in the stands banging a trash can or something, yeah, that's a little different. But, you know, if you have a guy on second, okay, do a better job as a pitcher. If you have, you know, guys on a sideline stealing signs in football, you still got to have 11 dudes go stop those guys. Like, okay, you know it's a running play. Great. Their alignment probably let you know it's a running play anyway.
To me, this is the most asinine penalty that you can give somebody. It's like penalizing somebody for playing poker and showing their hand to the guy, their opponent that they're playing, and you want to penalize the person. Oh, that's what's in your hand, so I know what to do with that. If I'm stealing your signs, you should need to figure out a better way, like you just said, Bo, hide your hand a little bit better. Maybe you should do that and be concerned with. I mean, because like you said, it's not illegal. It's not something, but they just frown upon it. And you're going to penalize somebody from winning because they were able. To me, it just seems like Jim Harbaugh and company knows how to play chess and they play it well.
Yeah.
I just don't penalize somebody for being good at the game.
I mean, it's a little different if you are going the Patriots route where you're filming their walkthrough. Like that ain't cool.
Correct.
Right? If you're using outside technology, like that's where it's not okay. But if you got a guy standing on second and your guy can't figure out how to hide his pitch, that's on you. That's not on the other team. Like that's just a gamesmanship thing. And even if you're bad at it, say you hold your glove open in a way, so disguise it. You know, mm-hmm. Do your movement like it's going to be a four-seamer and throw a sinker. You know what he's going to be way behind on? like he'll be out in front of that thing like nothing else. So, I mean, you know, some of that is, or you could do what happened the other day where they just balked the guy to third. They're like, you know what? We don't want you looking at it. Go ahead and move along. I mean, that works too.
Yeah, and I mean, that's and the stealing signs things for baseball too. I mean, you can throw pitches at different speeds.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that, okay, he's throwing a curveball, but what speed is the curve coming in there? You know, you can't make that decision on how fast the pitcher's going to throw that particular pitch too. So that's way. And Jim Harbaugh, to your explanation of the whole situation, Bo, he was the one that also said that, hey, yeah, you still got to go out there and execute. Mm-hmm. So regardless of anything that goes on, we still got to execute. So. Yeah. Don't be mad because they did. and they won a world champion. I mean, a college championship out of it. Whatever.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Hate the game. That's right. And I think Ohio State. I keep telling you, I think it's Ohio State that keeps doing this because they're getting mad because Michigan keeps beating them.
People might even care if you took the trophies away, right? But if you are just, you're like, oh yeah, you caught us, go ahead and suspend us. We can't win for the next couple of years, but you know what we have is a ring and a trophy. So,
Absolutely.
And Michigan has enough wins. You know, they're the all-time leading NCAA, you know, in wins. So it's not the only team that could probably catch up to them is Ohio State. But anyway, the point of the matter is that I just think it's kind of foolish too. I think it's goofy, but it is what it is. And there was some. Connor was the one that did kind of go. He purchased tickets to go to these games ahead of time. He did have a camera phone taking pictures of the field when they were out there. So it could get dicey with that. But he's not even with the team anymore. He resigned. So I don't even know where he's at anymore.
Here's my thing with that though. Is he's going to games, right? Mm-hmm. Going to games, sitting in the stands, videoing, right? Which is everything the TV cameras are doing, right? So, I mean, true. You could have just been combing over footage and probably seen everything that he's taken pictures of. Because college football isn't that far off from the NFL when it comes to all the different camera angles. So, I mean, realistically, yeah, you can complain about it, but this was game time scenarios. It's not like he was at their practices filming, you know, the way they're implementing these. So there's still a lot of question marks on whether or not those hand signals would even be accurate week to week. We changed stuff when I played, right? Like if you had something that you were doing for a few previous games, we'd mix it up. You know, all of a sudden you'd be doing this, and instead of locking guys up, you're, you know, in cover 4 with a base 2, right? Like you're as zoned out as it gets, but you were doing this like you were locking it up because you did that a couple of different times, you know, the weeks preceding. So, I mean, some of that's up to coaching to disguise that moving forward.
Somebody suggested, I saw one comment on this, you know, fans commenting on it. It says, well, if they weren't so lazy and didn't want to change their signs, it's up to them, you know, for getting caught with that. So that's the other thing. So other legalities that are going on right now, you know, Cleveland actually has some good news. I can't say good news and Cleveland in the same sentence at all. This is the first time I could say it.
They're moving to a city so they can win.
Well, that would even be better, but unfortunately, no. Cleveland Browns rookie running back and second-round pick Quinshawn Judkins won't face charges after a July 14th arrest of battery. So he's been cleared of that because they couldn't, the physical or the photographic evidence that they had doesn't correlate with what happened with the whole situation. So they're letting him go, which is good for Cleveland because now they can sign their rookie and get him in the training camp and have him start doing things. On another positive note for Cleveland Browns, again, have also signed wide receiver Isaiah Bond. Well, there's no formal deal that has been finalized, but Cleveland's basically come out there and said that, and so has Isaiah Bond. But after his sexual assault charges were dropped, he went undrafted because of the case, and he's out of Texas and Alabama. So, and he's a pretty good wide receiver. He was highly touted. He could have went number 1 had he not had this issue. I think that Cleveland hit a 2-run homer on this one today.
But do they still mess it up? Like that? I mean, it's. I mean, they have 6 quarterbacks, and they're still going to find a way to pick the wrong one.
You could almost say that's controversy in their triplets on offense. You got quarterback that got drafted at 144th, running back accused of. This sounds familiar. This sounds like Dallas. This sounds like some stuff that's going on in the early 90s. Judkins, and he's not acquitted, but he not cleared of charges because of lack of evidence and in domestic violence, and also Isaiah Bonds. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know he was with Cleveland. That's impressive because he's a pretty fast guy. But this is the same guy that said he was going to beat the record for the fastest 40 time, and he's still turning a very fast time at I think just slightly under 4.4, but he definitely wasn't 4.25.
Mm-hmm.
No, he wasn't even close. Yeah.
Not even close, right?
I mean, regardless, though, he's still, like I said, he would have been number one in the draft had he not had the issues that he had faced before the draft. So, I mean, we're going to find ways for Cleveland to screw stuff up because, that's the constant. But at the same time, and they're kind of like the Raiders. If you think about the old Raiders, they used to sign all the felons and stuff like that, So,
Yep, Raiders and
just
Cowboys.
win, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, Raiders have shown that they can win. I don't know about the Browns in this case.
That's
I don't
true.
know if just win should be their motto. I think it's
the best thing about the Browns,
Just stay in the bed, baby. That's what they're saying.
Right.
That's why they're called Browns.
that's also why they're sponsored by Dude Wipes.
There you go.
No, it's funny though. Like when you think about the Browns, right? So they moved to Baltimore. They win a couple of titles. The Browns get their team back. And the league did the dirtiest thing possible. They're like, yeah, you guys can have a team back. But that team that left that won, they're going to be in your division and just dominate you forever.
Basically, yeah.
Forever reminding them that they left in the middle of the night to go to another city.
Yeah. We stole your team right up under your noses in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Paul Revere style.
I mean, they tried to do that with the Seahawks. They actually had the 18-wheelers in LA. Like they were all the way down there. The league had to step in and force a sale to bring them back.
Wow. Now that's a story I never heard.
Oh, really? Yeah. Ken Behring, super douche. And he beat the team. And back when we still had the Kingdom, and he loaded up 18-wheelers, drove all the practice facility stuff, everything down to LA, and they were down there for about a month. I want to say 3 weeks, something like that. And the league was like, "Yeah, you're not moving," and had to truck all that stuff back up. They ended up forcing a sale, and as the story goes, he stole the 5-story tall American flag off the top of the Kingdom before he left town.
Oh my goodness.
Now I can't verify that. The only part I can verify is after he left, that flag wasn't there because it was hard to miss.
Yeah, I think he was being petty, real petty on that one.
Yep.
I mean, Baltimore did exactly what Indianapolis did to Baltimore. Well, not exactly, but the same thing Indianapolis did. Because remember, they were the Baltimore Colts at one time until Indianapolis came in there and said, you know what? Nah, you don't need a team.
Yep.
So
and yes, they were in the AFC. What a lot of people don't know is they actually entered the league in the NFC back in '76 for the inaugural season, and that was it. They switch over to the AFC West. It's why I always love the Seahawks Raiders matchup. I always try to go to it when it's a preseason game for us. And but then what in 2000 something like that, they switched over.
Yeah, they were in a Super Bowl just after that too.
Yeah,
2005. A year after that. Yeah,
2005.
Years after that. Yeah, I remember. I like John Elway, so I like the Broncos a lot because of John Elway, and I used to love the Seattle Bronco games. Those are always combative, really combative.
The Seahawks had a stud running back by the name of Kurt Warner.
Yes,
man, dude was beast. Underrated, man, because you guys didn't really have much of anything else outside of Steve Largent and him. I mean, but before they became really big,
That's when they had David Craig and what else did they have then too. And another quarterback.
Well, so they did have dudes though. It was funny.
They did have dudes.
They just couldn't quite put it together right because Joey Galloway was here.
Well, when they went to the Super Bowl under Mike Holmgren, they had Sean Alexander.
Well, yeah, league MVP 2005,
Yep.
right?
Had the most touchdowns, right?
That was a little different, though, right? Like, I know we're way off track of where you were trying to go there, but I always thought that Sean Alexander was one of the more overrated guys. And the reason for this is you had Mac Jones and Steve Hutchison on the left side of that line, which is arguably one of the most ridiculous left sides ever assembled for an offensive line. Every time Alexander wasn't in there and you had Maurice Morris running behind instead, Maurice Morris, not a big dude, not powerful, not overly fast, right? Like he's a solid dude. There's a reason he was behind the guy up front.
Yes, sir.
And he still had monster days every time he had a chance because you could drive a tank through the hole that offensive line would open up. Because soon as we got rid of Hutchison, Alexander's career here was done. He went to Washington, did nothing. It's like, oh yeah, turns out when you get hit near the line of scrimmage, you're just not quite as good.
I don't know if I'd call him quite overrated, but I mean, because I don't care how big the line is. 28 TDs is whatever he got. It's still impressive.
No, it is. But if you go back and you watch that year, that left side, I mean, it was a mile of grass. And he was fast. He was fast. You also would see that he only ran hard in the red zone. So he was that finesse guy that would dance to the sideline unless it was time to score. And then he would try. So, like, as a fan that had to watch a lot of it, you're just like, man, that's annoying.
Yeah, because he was a big guy. Why is he not trucking somebody? Right? I agree with you.
Yeah, those Michigan Hutchinsons, man, they play good.
That dude was absolute stud.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a reason.
Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Well, then back in that 80s era also, you had guys like Kenny Easley, right? Absolute stud of a safety.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the first guys to get his jersey retired here, and we don't retire jerseys in Seattle. We only have 4 players with retired jerseys.
Wow.
Who's that? Largent?
Yeah, Largent, Easley, Cortez. And
Cortez Kennedy.
Cortez Kennedy.
Cortez was a monster too. And mind blanking the last one. And our 5th jersey is the 12th, right? I don't know why I'm mind blanking the last.
It's not a quarterback, right, though?
No, we don't have any quarterbacks retired.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, we only have four guys, and they were all position. So.
Now I want to know.
Yeah, now it's irritating me that I can't think of it offhand. On the plus side, I'm going to Google it, and the list is so short, it's going to be easy to find.
The Seattle Mount Rushmore Ring of Honor retired jersey.
Well, retired.
Walter Jones.
There we go. Walter Jones.
Yeah.
Steve Hutchinson,
Big
Cortez Kennedy, Kenny Easley, Walter Jones, and Steve Largent. Yep.
Wasn't Walter Jones an offensive tackle?
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, so it was Jones and Hutchison were the monsters on that left side.
They should give Marshawn Lynch one too as well.
So they probably won't. They probably won't retire the jersey because he doesn't actually lead categories.
Right. Gotcha.
Because Chris Warren had more yards.
That was another good running back.
Oh, Chris Warren. Yeah. I'm sorry. Chris Warren. Yeah. Chris Warren.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner was dude too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
On to an AFC rival of the Seattle Seahawks, the Chiefs. Wide receiver Rashid Rice is expected to have his disciplinary hearing on September 30th and most likely will be able to play the first 4 games of the season before, of course, any discipline is informed by the NFL. I'm trying to figure that one out. They totally did that one weird. I mean, I mean, he's still facing discipline, but really that late in the season, and then they had Jordan Addison. He's missing the first 3 games of the season for Minnesota. So I mean, and his case was about, it wasn't the same time. Both of their cases were around the same time.
Yeah, some of those I think had to do with appeals, though. Like some of the guys are like, you know what, let's just get it out of the way at the beginning. And some guys are like, oh, let me appeal. And that's usually how you end up with that like mid-season suspension, because then they still fail. The appeal thing is always funny to me because it's not like it goes to a real court. It goes to the NFL court, and the NFL is the one sanctioning you. I don't know how you think you're going to win that. They're like, oh, yeah, you can go in front of the judge. We pay him, though. So take your best shot, but he might be biased.
Right. So he'll probably miss a few games, most likely. The NFL has been kind of locking down that.
Isn't this the same guy that doesn't have to serve his 30 days in jail? It could be anytime during his 5-year probation.
Oh, who is that?
It can be any time.
No, is it him or who's got?
No. It's not Rashid Rice. It's a
I was going to
different
say,
guy.
if it's any time, that's about as lenient as he gets.
No, there is somebody that actually has.
Yep.
I just can't think of who. I thought it was
4
Rashid
years.
Rice.
4 years probation, and they can serve their 30 days sentence at any time during those 4 years.
I
Who
wonder
is the guy?
I wonder if it's consecutive days. Can you just like do some weekends?
Like a reservist
Basically,
in the army.
that's what they gave the guy. Yeah, they gave him his
really?
choice that he can go in there and any
So it doesn't have to be in
be a
succession.
weekend warrior. Yeah, he could do it during the summertime.
Wow.
As long as he does
That's where
30
you're
days
like, you know
before his
what?
4 years probation is up.
Go work out on the yard with the guys and get some sprints in.
I was thinking it was like, you know what? Me and the old lady are fighting. I'm just going to do a couple nights over at the
I
couple of
remember
nights
who
in
that
county.
was too.
That would be hilarious.
You sure it's not Rashid Rice?
No, it's not Rashid Rice. Because this was already a case that went to court and everything, and they gave the guy, I can't remember who that guy's name is too, and it's on the tip of my tongue, and we were just talking about this like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
On to our next court appointed thing here. The court rules that Brian Flores' discrimination suit against the NFL can go to trial.
I'm going to say this is no BS. I'm calling no BS on this. I just think that everything I heard from Brian Flores, all the situation regarding his interactions with Miami, what he claims what's alleged of the owner wanting to pay him an excessive of $100,000 more to take to fake games or whatever you would call it, and being that he got a text message from Bill Belichick himself congratulating him on the job, and he only got the interview supposedly by the Rooney Rule. It's just, again, he didn't read a text him. He texted the wrong person. It's just a lot of stuff to me is just like seems like okay, and of course the alleged John Elway being drunk during the interview process. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I don't know if most of this is true or not, but now it seems this might be showing some validity if a judge is willing to put this and put the conglomerate like the NFL on blast and force them to go to trial.
I mean, he can proceed against claims against 3 teams: Denver Broncos, the Giants, and the Texans. So those are the 3 teams he's going to proceed against. Obviously, all of them. Well, he was on Miami before, right? He was head coach in Miami. I wonder why he didn't go after him.
He was the head coach there, and he was winning.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was winning there. I think that the biggest thing, him getting fired was a surprise, and obviously the allegations that came out, and of course the owner denied them, was just, it seemed, just that at the time allegations, but then you hear about these other things from other teams. And it's just like, okay, I'm not surprised, just given, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's true, given the history of the NFL existence and the lack, the percentages of how many players that are just happen to be African American that play the game versus the opposite end of the spectrum, how many that actually coach the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slowly starting to change as far as that's concerned about black coaches. I think the next step would be black owners. I guess Magic would be considered. He's a part owner of the Commanders, right?
Yeah, he's part of the ownership group. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just basically he's probably just going after team. It's systematic racism in the league, and that's true. Systematic racism doesn't start in the NFL. It goes back to college, to high school,
Of course,
to Pop Warner. I can tell you, it's funny. We can go through this. It happens on the white and the black side of the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's like when I was in high school, I was a corner. Okay. But I had a black cornerbacks coach, defensive backs coach, and he did not put me, even though I had a very good run time then, and I was very astute at the position. He didn't put me on there because he specifically told me that there are no white cornerbacks in the NFL. That's what he told me. Mm-hmm. So you can experience that from both sides. I understand that this is mostly Black Americans that have to go through this a lot too. It's systematic. It is systematic racism, just like the quarterback position. And that's why you see a flurry of, and now black quarterbacks have to be athletic to be in that position. There are smart black quarterbacks. Let's not put them into that quotation of athleticism. There's smart quarterbacks too that are black, but whatever. That's just something that's just starting to ease out. Now it's slowly easing into the NFL as being positive instead of being negative and all the stuff going on with it.
You're also starting to see that from within the ownership because, when you think back to the league, really just even 5 years ago, how old were your owners? They were like 70 and older year old white guys.
Yeah.
How many of your grandparents, white or black, really, were pretty racist either way, right? like they'd say some off-color stuff that by today's standards, you're like, ooh, yeah, we can't go out in public ever.
Be canceled immediately.
Right? So, I mean, when you think of it that way, it's like, okay, well, now you're starting to see these owners that, they're aging out. They're finally kind of disappearing. And as the younger generation starts to take it over, you see some of that fade away.
And going back to your time as a DB and your African American coach, there's definitely some discrimination there for sure. Without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
But with that being said, was he not telling the truth? Yes, but it still shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't. I mean, I remember a guy by the name of Jason Sehorn that was a pretty top-notch cornerback in the league. If he had not torn his ACL, he probably still would have been playing for a decent time.
Robbie's words of wisdom.
You were told exactly what I was, right? Because I was a corner also. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I just had to show that I was faster. Like it was that. I just, I'm not tall, but I could get up and I could dunk a basketball and I could run a 4.3. So it's like, well, you can hate on me all you want, but you got to catch me still.
Right.
Yeah, I think the thing that helped me out in my personal, thing about this is that the coach at the time, I was a junior. The coach at the time, not that it make any difference. He was a white head coach, but he was an old guy. He was like old school like that. And he listened to his other coaches, without making a decision in his own mind what he should do. And he got sick, unfortunately for him. He had cancer, so he had to go take care of that in the next season, which was my senior season. And the coach that took over was the assistant coach was a black coach. alluding to this because I went up to him because I couldn't get nothing through my DB's coach, and I thought it was being, I was kind of getting treated unfairly in that situation, which is funny for somebody of my persuasion to start, it's not fair, man. But I went up to to my coach and I said, hey, dude, I mean, I don't know what's going on with this guy. He has something for me because I guess I'm white and I'm not good enough or something like that. So he sat there and watched a lot of the practices that we had. He focused in on the DBs. And as soon as this, we went into training camp, he said, you need to put him as a starter because he's outshining everybody on that roster as far as the DBs are concerned. So you need to put him there. And reluctantly, the DBs coach put me on there. But then, the rest is history after that. But anyway. But I mean, it's weird, when you have that kind of a tale to tell about that, because I went to a predominantly black school. So, and it didn't bother me at all. I wasn't taught that kind of thing by my family. Well, my immediate family, I'll put it to you that way. Because I did have the older generation,
So you were one white chocolate chip and a double chocolate chip cookie.
Right. Yeah, there was like two white guys on the team. I was a corner, and there was, of course, an offensive lineman. So it worked out though. I mean, everybody got a fair shake. I mean, we played well that year. So I mean, I wasn't. It's just the fact that said, dude, I know I can beat half these kids on this team in the first place because I was fast. Is the key word at that time. So I mean, and I had some pretty good ball handling skills too, as far as cornerbacks are concerned. I can actually catch the ball. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you look at it from both sides of the coin. It's just hilarious that, now that I look at it and I'm thinking, look at this white guy's complaining about it, damn discrimination against him, and black folks been going through this for 400 years. What the heck? So, kind of feel bad in a way, but then, hey, it was competition. I love that spot. I love football. So I was like, hey, dude, I'm playing some way. Get me on this team. Do something. I got to do something here. So I just jumped over that hurdle. Anyway,
for sure.
Speaking of racism, the court clears ways for Gruden to sue NFL over email leak, which I think is pretty funny because the emails that were leaked did have some racial tones to them.
Sure.
And, everybody pretty much respects John Gruden to a point. But I mean, when you have emails that come out, I mean, he's having this whole thing about, I lost my job and my credibility because they leaked those emails. Well, dude, it wasn't about leaking the emails. It was what's in the emails that really got you in trouble.
Well, no. So he actually has a good case here.
He has an excellent case.
Because although you're not wrong, right? Like what's in them is not great. The fact that there was 170,000 emails, you're telling me that only his were off color. We're talking about the owner of the Redskins,
Commanders,
who was a massive dirtbag. None of those, right? So, and these weren't for public disclosure, right? Mm-hmm. So these were actively leaked. So it's not defamation as far as he didn't say it. It's defamation because this was not supposed to be public, and it was very calculated because there's no way they just happened to pick the ones that his name was on, right? Like you were deliberately doing that. And so, yeah, even though what's in there probably would have got him fired, the fact that this wasn't disclosure for the public and they became public cost him a 10-year, $100 million contract. Now, the question I have for you guys, because we all know how this is actually going to go, the NFL is going to, write a check for $100 million and be like, hey, you know what? You can work in the league again. And then this thing's going to go away. They're going to be like, here is a whole list of NDAs. And we never do this again because $100 million to the league is a rounding error. They don't care. They print the stuff under a stadium somewhere. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, this is still never going to hit court. We're still never going to really know. But there's no way that his emails were the worst when you figure the owner of the Redskins was the reason they were collected. Dude pimped out cheerleaders. I mean, like, he talked some, like, I want to see those emails because
office people too. They pimped out office people too.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, his emails out of those selections were insane.
And that's why the same situation with Brian Flores, that's not going to go to court. The NFL, there's no way they're going to let that go to court. They're going to give him a huge lump sum of money to be quiet and, and just go back to Minnesota, be an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator or whatever it is you're going to do, and we can move forward. Because the bottom line is their bottom line. It's their brand.
They're gonna bust out one of the big pens and one of the, like, you won first place at a college, or I mean at a golf tournament check. They'll be like, all right, here you go. Bye.
It's gonna have about 9 to 10 zeros.
Exactly.
Right. Hey. Well, I just hope that, like I said, I'm sure there's people that are in those positions in every sports facet that had some kind of racial intones and sending emails or something like that. I'm not saying everybody did. It's just some of those few people. And I mean, you can't.
Think of the way
you put it behind them.
Think of the way you've sent text messages to buddies of yours. If those got public, just randomly pulled out of context, bet you get canceled.
Yep. Or people saying things when they were young, when they were. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody's got to be held accountable, and responsible for their actions. But
sure,
I mean, things you probably wouldn't say online or Twitter, like that you did years ago. You've grown since then. Like, man, I wouldn't do that. I say that. I mean, or at least not out loud, or not on social media. You might say it in your house. You might say it to your wife, and like the former owner of the LA Clippers, when his girlfriend busted him out, she recorded about black guys and Magic Johnson. That was in his home. He can say what he want to say in his home. She was wrong for that, but it cost him a whole team.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of respect. That's what I fear about John, Gruden, because after this settles down, you're still gonna, how people hold on to stuff.
Oh, they're gonna give him the rock brow. They're gonna give him that rock brow. Yeah, they're gonna look at him like
it's gonna be the Bugs Bunny incident all over again. What's this I hear about you talking about?
Pretty much.
Our buddy Shohei Ohtani is another guy that's in the news for some legal action. He's the people that are suing him are claiming the Los Angeles Dodgers star and his agent got him fired from a $240 million luxury housing development on the Big Island of Hawaii, and because they brought them in here to endorse that property. So Ohtani's agent, Nez Balio, increasingly demand concessions from developer Kevin J. Hayes Sr. and the real estate broker Tomoko Matsumoto. Hey, I'm learning Japanese. Before demanding that their business partner, Kingsbarn Realty Capital, dropped them from the deal. You know what? If you're gonna get into stuff like this is what I don't understand about superstars. That are high profile superstars in any league. If you're gonna do stuff like this, be pure about it. Don't fall for that 1-2. Like, even if your agent's doing some shady stuff, you know what I'm saying? You kind of get away from that. Now you're in the spotlight. You're the most prolific baseball player in the major leagues right now, and you're gonna have this come on you, dude. And I think he had another couple cases on him too, earlier as well. It's like, dude, just stop. Just play baseball.
I mean, the gambling rings a bell. I mean, look, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I just think that uh, Otani's might not be as innocent as we think. I'm not. This is all alleged stuff, but you just don't know. Maybe somebody they see. Okay, he was susceptible. He was very vulnerable to his best friend in regards to the gambling stuff, and now maybe he's vulnerable to this type of situation. I don't know about that. I don't know that. I mean, I would have given you one. I give you one off. But now, you're starting to see all this other stuff come out. Like if you're mentioning that, I hadn't heard this, but it's not like it's something small. It's not like it's like a $500,000. 250
Right.
million. That's astronomical. So, and he has the money to be able to put that kind of thing. I mean, so I'm not surprised. Again, it is alleged, but it makes you raise a brow and wonder. You look at this guy, like, okay, did his buddy, and like as the late Mac McGrath said, he thought he was guilty. He thought he was culpable in that situation in regards to the gambling scandal, and I didn't think so at first, but if I'm hearing this now, I will at least raise a brow and be watching a little bit more and listening more to this because there may be like I said, where there's smoke, there's always fire.
And it definitely sounds like there's some legitimacy to this because this isn't like they just stepped in and busted you out. They basically worked on these people enough to finally force you out. That's the slow play. Like that's deliberate. And you can't even say somebody's taking advantage of you. I mean, because that's over time. Like you're watching that happen. So yeah, I don't think there's any way that he's not involved in some of these, especially as they continue to mount. But at the same time, where is his crew? Like, get an overseas business that hires you as a spokesman. Don't show that you're the problem. Come on, man. You have $1 billion worth of contracts with, baseball and endorsements. How about you get a little bit smart, have a shell company that everybody else has, and have that shell company hire you. Nobody really knows who owns that. You just look like you're there along for the ride, but no, you got to go do something dumb.
Yeah,
being on a legal show and all.
And he's like he's a high profile athlete in the country. I mean, it doesn't make a difference with sport. Everybody knows who Otani is. I mean, it's dude, really? Well, I wish I had his problems though.
Oh, yeah.
To make that type of money. Of course, we always go back to the college football here. Oklahoma quarterback John Metier denied gambling on sports after Venmo transactions from his account surfaced with descriptions referencing bets. Dude, this is another dumb. You don't know any other code words, dude?
Right?
I mean, what?
Dumb.
Yeah, you need to be whatever punishment you get, you deserve because this is just about as bad as the sign stealing stuff. I mean, if you don't change your signs, people are going to be stealing them all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Use some kind of code when you're putting them in the V. It's like people don't understand that everything, all their information is public. Whether you think it's private or not, it's public. If it gets out there, it can be in the cloud. Everything's in the cloud now. So
snail mail it.
Yeah. And they still put I'm like, dude, what? You should never think that this is a personal thing. This is not about information is wide open in this time.
Yep.
So I don't understand why people continue to do the dumb stuff that they do, like this guy.
I look at it this way, right? When you're a top level athlete getting either NIL or you're in the league, right? And things like this will ruin your ability to make money. I've just never been able to wrap my head around the self-sabotage of, hey, I'm gonna gamble or do drugs in something that you have a 10 or 15 year shelf life, right? Like your average guy doesn't even get out of his rookie deal in the NFL. So, I mean, even if you're on the outer edge, say you got a 15-year shelf life in the league, you can't figure out how to not do drugs and bet for 15 years. Because after that, you can do everything dumb you ever wanted to do, right? Free reign, like chief it up like a champ and bet on everything.
Right.
Addiction is a hell of a drug.
I mean, it is, but you got to have some positive influences in your life, in your inner circle that are like, dude, no, right? Like you probably shouldn't have your friends in the car with you on Instagram Live where you're swinging guns around, right? Like it's that type of stuff where you're just like, man, what are you doing?
I mean, at the same time, you still have to hold the individual responsible too, because you're responsible for your own actions. You can get out there on Instagram and show your boys throwing the guns up in the air, but as long as you're not doing it, that's the whole point.
Well, that's what I'm saying is you need people in your inner circle that aren't morons.
And then
That's usually not the case.
It is.
But to be fair about it, maybe there are people that are not morons in his circle, and he doesn't listen to them. He or she does not listen to them, and they're morons. They could be that too. That happens.
I agree with that too.
One last legal thing we have here. Sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson addressed her recent domestic violence arrest in a video on social media and issued an apology to her boyfriend, Christian Coleman, who is also a sprinter. And they had a little spat in an airport. Another thing that I don't understand. If you're going to have spats, okay, I understand that. All right. Because it's, we all have difficulties with our spouse, girlfriend, whatever, partner. But keep that in the house. You know what I'm saying? Or go somewhere and talk about it. I guess people are just emotionally charged, and maybe and she said she did admit that she was emotionally charged in this whole incident, but in the middle of the airport, girl.
I mean, sometimes the middle of the airport doesn't matter. It always makes me think back to Jeremy Stevens and Hope Solo. Like they went at it a bunch, out in public and at home. So, some of them are just, a little on the aggressive side.
These are human beings.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, when I say that, I mean, obviously you have to be culpable and accountable for your actions, but sometimes things, people come out of dysfunction. Sometimes people come out of, a lot of things that aren't kosher, that aren't the Leave It to Beaver situation. It's total opposite.
Yep.
And I think it doesn't help if you already have some marks on your record prior to this type of situation. It's going to be exemplified or exponentially magnified to look worse because you're the person that already had emotional issues. You had issues with marijuana, that kind of stuff, and then of course, you run track, you're fast, but this is what the world likes. We're talking about this, and we're talking about how people probably should, be accountable, but people don't want anyone to be accountable. People want this. The majority of people want chaos. They want to see this. It's going to get views. And not only that, you see what you just mentioned. I can run through maybe about 15 different platforms that had the same discussion talking about this.
Oh yeah.
And not in a good way. Not in a situation like we're actually talking about it or being sensible about it. But most people want chaos, like you said.
Oh, you got to give it to her boyfriend too. I mean, during this whole commotion in the airport, he did restrain from, probably breaking her neck at some point. But I mean, he didn't.
Allegedly, don't sue the sheriff.
Allegedly.
And he didn't press charges either.
I'm sure.
He didn't press charges.
He said, it's just a disagreement. It's cool. Don't worry about it. We got it. We'll go past this. And she's apologized like 5 million times to him on social media. I'm sure in his face. and to all his family members or whatever the case may be. And she, she wants to do right by that. So kudos to her. She took responsibility for her actions. She knew she got a little bit out of control with him, and he understood that. That's why he didn't press charges. He wasn't worried about the whole situation.
I would bet that this probably is the first time it happened. It just got this much attention because it happened in an airport.
Yep.
Like, let's be honest. And the fact that anything happened was because it was in an airport.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because had that happened on the street or anything like that, nothing would have happened. But now you have TSA and Homeland and all those guys viewing the cameras. They're like, well, whether you're pressing charges or not, y'all are getting bracelets today.
Matching bracelets.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like if somebody calls, right, domestic anything, and they show up to your house, whether anyone presses charges or not, someone's leaving in that car.
Somebody's leaving. Yep. Somebody's
right?
going.
They're like, hey, we are required to bring someone along.
That's right. Just have you settle down in the tank for a little while, then we'll release you. But two of you ain't going to stay in this house. That's for sure. One of you got to go.
We ain't coming back, so one of you gets to do a ride along.
Hey, that's what they said about Waco. We ain't coming back. Or we ain't coming out. Excuse me. Sorry.
We ain't coming out.
We ain't coming out. We ain't coming out. I think
right. They ain't coming back either.
Yeah.
And I guess we can joke about that now because it's a long time ago.
Yeah, Antonio Brown probably could use both of those.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back, and I'm not going out. That's Antonio Brown right there in a nutshell.
And they didn't.
I am not going to the USA anytime soon. I love Dubai. I got a $25 million account. I'm living a life here. I don't know about y'all.
But he's gonna want to come. He's gonna want to come home at some point.
Yeah, you're gonna run out of money.
Unless he does something there that's creative. But knowing his spastic
man, you don't
behind,
want to do creative there.
I don't know. They got money there, so I don't know. But I just don't see it happening with him, though. It's not like he's,
you don't want to get creative in a foreign country, man.
Well,
especially there with their laws, with those laws over there.
That's what I'm saying. You better button it up. Like, say you got away. Cool.
I'm just saying intelligently creative. I'm not saying reckless abandonment creative like he usually does. And that's the problem. I don't think he doesn't have that in himself to do that. So, probably he'll have to come back for money, but it won't make a difference then because if he comes back and he's poor, he's just going to be in jail.
No. It's going to happen there, and it's going to be the part 2 coming this fall.
It's going to be worse if he breaks a law there in Dubai.
That's what I'm saying. Probably be the whole hour.
So nice. We are now wrapping up our show of the legalities of the sports. I think this has been a very good conversation with you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the conversations as well. I figured I thought to throw the law in there since our girl Sonia is not here and she's studying for law. Mm-hmm. This is probably some of the stuff she would be talking about anyway. I know her. But it's been great, guys. And I'm glad for you guys to join the show. You're always welcome to be on here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks, Bo. Really thank you because you're way behind us as far as time is concerned. So, and
sadly, like this was the only one I was going to be able to do because Thursday Night Football starts next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so with the preseason games, and I have a Thursday Night Football show, and so sadly it falls right in this time slot. So when you sent me that, I was like, well, I could do it tonight.
And I took advantage of that. But yeah, do catch Bo on this Thursday Night Football next week too as well. What time is that on Eastern Standard Time? Is it the same time?
So it would be it'll be 4 Pacific. So basically it's 2 things back to back. So I have a pick'em show because I run a pick'em championship, right? So we do, and the picks lock for the week when the first kick happens. So Thursday night games. And so we do my picks prior to that. And then what I used to do is a sports bar series where I would watch Thursday Night Football and interview the bar owner at a different sports bar each week, right? To highlight local businesses and stuff. And it was a way for me to meet people that were, fans of the show and stuff. So it was awesome. This time around, because I just don't have time to do that much travel, it's going to be at Crucible Brewing, is going to host both the Pick'em show and Thursday Night Football. So Crucible Brewing in Everett, you can catch us every week of Thursday Night Football.
Cool. All right. You heard it there, folks. And James, of course, you as always, you're always the welcome guy on here. Thank you for showing up. On that note, we are out of here. Everybody have a good rest of your evening. And don't do drugs.
Angels fascinated, reporting back to the maker. I'm emancipated, blow a kiss out the neighbor. Saying bye to Felicia, saying hi to Miss Parker. I was in the darkness, didn't stop me shining though. I was at the bottom, but it didn't stop me climbing though. Talents we ain't hiding those. Cook out, I'm providing flows. Homie, you invited, getting reunited with the real you. You no longer gotta hide it. They love to see us fighting, love it when we are divided. Yo, we about to make a man. Food on the table, big stacks in the bag. Drink in my hand, watch me do a little.